a lot of our clients, they're really great at what they do. They're really great at being doctors, at being lawyers, but they're not so amazing at being businessmen. And if you look at the best people in the world, from Mark Zuckerberg to Elon Musk, they always hire people smarter than them.
I'm excited to dive into a conversation with Guido Tebano, a seasoned member of the business development team at Market My Market, about the vital role of cultivating personal connections and relationships in the business world. Guido is a dynamic leader in sales and marketing, renowned for his ability to drive growth and profitability across diverse industries. With an entrepreneurial spirit and a sharp instinct for market trends, Guido is dedicated to surpassing client expectations while meeting their unique needs. Before joining Market My Market, Guido honed his skills in the storage industry, where he served as the vice president of sales and marketing at Treasure Island Storage for over a decade. His career is defined by a track record of optimizing sales and marketing operations, consistently delivering results that propel organizational success. In our conversation, Guido reveals how Market My Market sets itself apart by prioritizing deep client relationships and tailoring strategies to individual goals, going far beyond traditional marketing services. Listeners will gain insight into the enduring value of face-to-face interactions in the post-COVID world, as Guido emphasizes the importance of genuine connections. Throughout our dialogue, Guido shares the invaluable insights into effective marketing strategies, highlighting the need for tangible ROI and bespoke solutions. Drawing from his own experiences, he discusses the imperative for businesses to adapt and innovate in competitive markets. Join us to explore Guido's philosophy on business growth, the transformative powers of networking, and the unique approach taken by Market My Market to deliver exceptional results. Enjoy the conversation. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Hero of the Hour podcast. And I'm here with my friend Guido Tebano. Guido, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Mark. I'm happy to be here.
So, there's an expression that people say that says it's not what you know, it's who you know, and I've always believed that. But I think in 2024 we take it one more level and we say it's not just who you know, it's who knows what you know. And your company specializes in getting people to let people know who they know. So tell us a little about your company.
Sure.
Tell us a little about how you started, and tell me a little bit how you help people all over the country to grow their businesses.
Sure. So I work for Market My Market. We're a digital online marketing company. And, we're like you. We're in the business of relationships. We're not here to sell anyone. We're here to fact find, help people. And it's about connections. It goes more than just the relationship that we do marketing for our clients. We really establish a relationship with them. We want to know who they are, what their goals are. And not everyone's goals are the same. It's not a cookie cutter approach. Some people have an exit plan. They want to leave in 5 years. And some people they want to grow and keep growing. And we like both. It's just, it gets down to really who you are, what you want to do, and how we can help you. So, and I think in today's world, especially we always say post-COVID, it gets thrown around so much, but it is. The rest of your life is going to be post-COVID. Things have changed. I think people have realized that, in-person meetings matter again, too. The connections you make, FaceTime is really important. You don't want to just be behind a Zoom and never have any sort of interactions with people. There are some people that like that, and that's great. But I don't think we're that kind of that company. And we kind of tend to have clients that want that personalized approach to it. So, in terms of marketing is so many different things. Encompasses branding, networking, business development, and then, who do you want to get in front of? And we specialize in legal and medical and self-storage, and medical specifically dental, fertility, and spine. And we're pretty specific. We will talk to anyone. We get referrals all the time for caterers, other medical stuff sort of outside of that. But at the end of the day, that's what our scope is, and that's what we're comfortable doing. But you never know, and that's why you have conversations with people. And if you can give someone some advice, I think that's a good thing in life. You want to pay it forward.
So without giving any away any trade secrets or your secret sauce, who typically you talk about you're a dentist, you're a lawyer. You mentioned two of those verticals. There's several others you just mentioned. So I'm a lawyer. I want to grow my business. I'm a dentist. I want to grow my business.
Okay.
Tell me,
So
I call you. What happens? What happens when I call you?
we have a discovery call. I mean, like for first, I want to know who you are. We got to know who your demographics are, where you are, because obviously a lawyer in New York City has a big demographic, population and dentists too. That's different from someone in Iowa or Wisconsin or even California. It's just that's why we're called Market My Market. We market your market. So it's very diverse and very different. The same thing like when you deal with your clients, like a doctor's like goal is probably different than a dentist's long-term goal. Do they own their property? Like, what do they want to do? It's the same thing. You fact find. So we want to know about who you are, who your client is, and then it comes down to numbers. I'm like a business guy, just like you are. And I don't care how many clicks you get on your website, how many people visit you. If there's no money in your bank account at the end of the day from what I do for you, then it's not a good relationship. You're going to fire me. You're not going to be happy. So it all comes down to what's your ROI? What is your client worth to you? How many clients can I bring you? And kind of back into those numbers, because everything today it's a number. If you look at business, and you have to look at that, what's your cost of acquisition? If I want to grow by this amount of money, how much do I have to put into marketing to get this many clients that convert? And then that equals this amount of money. So we kind of look at that as a marketing company too, which is a little bit different and unique. We don't just look at, oh, your keyword rankings are in the top 10 this month, and you have X many more visits. Those are good metrics for showing that the dial is moving in the right way. But at the end of the day, it comes down to like, are you making the money you need to be profitable? Not just like, staying afloat. And I like that about dentists, because like you get into talking to them specifically, and they're like, yeah, I make like 1.2 million a year. And then you say, well, how profitable are you? Where is this money going? How much, if I walk in the door and I sit in your chair today, how much am I worth to you? And it sort of gets them thinking. And I think that's a good approach. Because you really want to like kind of dig in, and a lot of our clients, they're really great at what they do. They're really great at being doctors, at being lawyers, but they're not so amazing at being businessmen. And if you look at the best people in the world, from Mark Zuckerberg to Elon Musk, they always hire people smarter than them. I hire people smarter than me too. I don't do SEO. I don't write content. I know how to like create the plans and stuff and devise it. But at the end of the day, you want a team that really, knows what they do. So when you go back to them and you're like, look, this is our client, this is their goals, like this is our action plan. And again, it's fluid. Nothing is in stone. That's why we meet with people every 2 weeks. We really, want to see how things sort of progress. And if you kind of wait like a month is an eternity to a dentist that needs to like, in a September where you're really slow, or, a spine group that's doing like $250,000 like surgery. So we have to be dynamic and fluid, and the market changes all the time too. Right now interest rates are high. Everyone in dentistry, from like all the DSOs, are like, oh, new patients are down 20%. Well, yeah, because you're competing with someone putting gas in their car, or putting food on their table. But that doesn't mean there aren't clients out there or patients that are searching that come to your office. You just have to take on a different approach and pull from what's in your area. And there's a lot of different approaches to sort of doing that too, and it comes down to, again, do you take insurance? Do you not take insurance? Are you fee for pay? Like, what's sort of your game plan? So that's kind of where we go from there with that.
One of the things that I've always been, we've always been a marketing firm, but I'll call old school marketing, to get to get business from law firms and accounting firms and banks and our existing clients and that sort of stuff. And as the digital age has come in over the last decade or so, we spent a lot of time and money learning that space. But I will tell you that it was a learning curve, because a lot of the money we spent was wasted.
Right.
It was good because we had some learning involved in it. We learned what worked and what didn't work, but we wasted a lot of money to figure out some of the things we've done. It seems to me that as the more as we get into marketing, is you've got to micro target. You've got to be able to, you've got to be able
Yes.
to spend less and get more of an impact. And I know that's something your
Right.
firm does very, very, very well. Tell me
Yeah.
your thoughts on that.
So I always say you want to walk before you can run. We always have to ease into things slow, and everything's about metrics. So you can understand this too. The more data you have, the better you get at marketing. So, but if I don't have data, like, how many people come to your website, what time of day, where are they coming from, with all the metrics that sort of we use with Google Analytics. It's very hard to like sort of come up with like the best approach. You're just what I call shooting from the hip. And a lot of people get to a certain point in their business by shooting from the hip, which means they try this, they try that. They don't really know what their return on investment is. And that will get you so far. But if you really want to be like next level, you want to really grow your practice, expand by second ones. First one's easy, the second one's hard. It's all about standard processes, and SOPs and getting those underway. And it's the same thing with marketing. You have to have an SOP for marketing, just like with operations. I think some of the key things that I always like to say too is, when you call it old-fashioned marketing, that's like it's networking, business development. You know who your clients are, you talk to them. We do that too. Like the marketing goes outside of what Google does and stuff like that too. Like again, I see it's very interesting in the dental sector. Like someone brands a tool or like something that's in dental, and like, it's like the only thing that they'll use. But there's other options too. For example, like there's third-party answering services. Like in legal, third-party answering services are amazing, and they're a fraction of what dentists pay. But everyone's like, oh, it's for dental. It has to be great. I think one of the big things that makes us really unique that we bring to the table is we have experience in these other sectors that legal marketing is so competitive. Self storage is so competitive. So you take these sort of best practices that work in these sectors and you apply them to dental, and you blow it out of the park because your competitors are doing. They're all following the same cookie cutter approach to marketing. They look at things in a very one dimensional approach. And one of the things we specialize that I tell you all the time is we are the best at optimizing Google Maps. We have a team that is like the top in the country. So, everything today is about how you're found on a Google map. I need an investment planner near me. I need to fix my flat tire near me. We're all in a service industry, including medical, which people, I don't think doctors realize that, but that's how people search today. Long gone are the days that, you get a referral because your parents went to this dentist or this doctor, or you went here. It doesn't work like that. The first thing someone does is they Google you. And then, the word of mouth thing is important, but then they're going to look at the reviews that you have. They're going to look at your website for a second, and they're all decision factors beyond the referral that helps the buying person like call and say, okay, I want to make an appointment with this person, or I want to have the conversation and go the next step. So it's just not a word of mouth is like just a lead at this point. And then it's a very good lead and it's a warm lead and it could be hot. But again, it has to have all these like trigger points to like push it through. So that's what we're seeing now.
There was you had, and again, if you don't want to talk about this, don't talk about it. But I know that Treasure Island Storage, you've had 15% year over year revenue increases.
Yeah.
What were the key factors behind that? Tell people because I think most people, I mean, obviously startup businesses, that's 15% is not big growth, but for established companies to grow 15% every year and compound that, that's a pretty good number. How did you do that?
So there's a couple different things. Number one is acquisition. But when you open a storage facility, again, you have to have a game plan. Storage is one of those things where it's like you can't just buy the property. The bank wants to see your marketing plan in place. So again, you have to be really cutting edge. Again, Treasure Island Storage wasn't a REIT. You're going up against a CubeSmart, a Public Storage, Extra Space, these humongous conglomerates with millions and millions of dollars to spend on pay-per-click. So you have to have a different approach. Pay-per-click only gets you so far. And it's like I always say, pay-per-click is like throwing a net into the ocean and you're only trying to catch tuna. You're going to get everything. You might get a shark, you might get this, you might get that. So it works to a certain degree, but you have to do other stuff. You have to compete on a local level. So again, what we do there applies to DSOs when we have doctors that go against them. All right. So that's great. You should want to be next to a DSO because that means they know how to price right. They're looking at fee structures, all these things. You should be like, great, this is the competitor. How you're going to beat them is with customer service, You're going to beat them with great reviews online. You're going to beat them with business development and then local SEO. You're going to beat them on a local level with, like, you put out content, you put out blogs, make sure you have your website is always pristine. There's no link breaks. You're affiliated with the right organizations. And really, like, again, reviews matter so much. And again, we help our clients manage that through software that sort of like sends out messages and texts them and reminders. Because listen, everybody's busy doing their life. You forget to do stuff. At the end of the day, your front desk person is there to book appointments. Your manager is there to, like, make sure, breakdowns are done and this and that and payment is processed. So, we try to take all the important core factors that make a marketing plan work and people walk in your door and kind of streamline it. And we kind of take this from other sectors too. For, again, like, dentists have a big client base. They know that if that you're a GP, you're going to see someone for a cleaning every 6 months in a day because that's what Delta Dents or whatever will pay for. But they don't send out newsletters. And, like, someone coming in for a cleaning may not know that this GP brought in an oral surgeon or they do pediatrics. And grandma might have, like, a couple grandkids that are in the neighborhood that, like, they have the same insurance, they can go there. So they don't do a really good job, other than with that person in the chair, of staying in touch with their client base and telling them what they do and reminding them, other than, like, there's software that sends out a reminder that's like, oh yeah, you're due for your cleaning, or okay, it's been 3 months since you had your implant, it's time to come back in for a checkup. And that's really our job too. So we have to look at existing base, bringing new people in, and then how do we get the right exposure? Because again, I can do marketing and I can bring a ton of people to your website. But if they're Medicaid or Medicare patients and you don't take that and you're only on a network, like, then we're just wasting your time. I'm wasting your money and I'm wasting your time. So it has to be, a very sort of customized approach to each person. And again, with Treasure Island, it was the same thing. We looked at the neighborhoods we were in. Were we opening in Bushwick? Was this area predominantly Latino? Did they have more, and within that were more Colombians, where this, we have to do a grassroots thing where you advertise in newspapers because they read local newspapers. And, like, this is the sort of thing what we talk about in discovery calls and what really, like, puts you over the edge from, like, maybe a normal 4% growth or 5% that a REIT will have in self-storage to, like, 15% growth. It's all these little incremental things add up and thinking outside of the box. And again, it's like, you, Mark, come to me, I advise a plan for you. I don't use the same thing that I use for, somebody else that's in a similar market. There may be some similarities, but at the end of the day, it comes down to what is your goal and how am I going to get you? And we're advisors. I make suggestions. Sometimes people don't have the budget for everything we do. We scale back, we adapt, we adjust, because that's life. Everybody has a wish list. Everyone wants a Ferrari or whatever it may be, but you can't always afford that. So you go for the thing that's going to make you happy and get you where you need to go, and suffice for that so we can get there. So,
one of the things, they always talk about three types of people. They talk about givers, they talk about takers, they talk about matchers. And everybody knows what a taker is, somebody who's, one-way street person. And a matcher is, I'll help Guido because he can help me, but I won't help Joe, screw Joe because Joe can't do anything for me. But then there are givers, and givers usually start as the lowest performers, but in the long run, they are massively better performers than everybody else because they've not spent weeks or months or even years, but sometimes decades pouring into other people. And they have an army of people that come back for them. I've never met anybody that led with their giving arm and their heart the way you do. Tell us about your philosophy and how that's massively accelerated your business and your life.
I had a really great business coach years ago, and she had some really great like expressions. And one of the things she always would say was like, you gotta want to help people. You gotta love what you do. If you don't love, and, like, I know it sounds so cliche, and it's kind of like, what, like, the new millennial philosophy. It's all about quality of life. And this, and money isn't everything. I always feel like when you're happy with what you do, like, money comes. I worked in self storage, as an executive for like 20 years, and I needed a change for me. And I wanted to go more towards where I could have a lot of different clients and work for an agency like what I'm doing now, because this is what makes me happy. I needed the change. And I knew that, like, it was the right time in my life to, like, do that. And I think it's the same thing for people. It's not, I don't, wouldn't call it, we do give, but it's more that I like to make connections. I think it's important. You know, when I can help you grow your business, it comes back because I'm doing a good job of helping you network, and I'm networking too. And it's like I don't make sort of connections where it's like, what's in it for me? You can't do that. That's like a sort of a selfish thing to do. Although like businesses don't have feelings, and that's okay. But my philosophy is that if I can help you with something, and it just takes a phone call or an introduction. What is that? What is that for me? You know, people have done that for me my whole life. Except like, you know, with younger people too, and mentoring, I think it's really important. Spend some time with some people. It's not just about yourself. Like one day we're all going to retire, and you know, you're going to look back and you'll be like, okay, I worked at this company for 30 years. Did I even remember? Did I make an impact? I mean, money is not that hard to make. You live in the United States. It's a capitalist country. You know, you work hard, you follow like a process, you will make money here, you know? And it's not necessarily the smartest people that do, it's the ones that don't give up. So, you know, like that's the key. I've known some really brilliant people and they haven't amounted to very much. And I knew some people that weren't that smart and they were really, they just pushed themselves where someone would give up, and they're really the top of their, you know, their game and their careers now. And I think that's important. You just don't give up. You change direction. You know, sometimes we make bad decisions and you move on from them, but those are the ones you learn the most for. And business owners, I say that all the time too. You grow from the mistakes you make in life. So, okay, you
Agree.
invested $20,000 in this marketing company, you learn nothing. Okay, now I'm going to make you that 20,000 back plus like 50% growth every year because we're going to do it right or whatever it may be. Or you hire the wrong employee, whatever it may be. We all make mistakes, but I know, and you could say that too. I've grown the most from like the things that I did wrong. Like if you're always doing something right and no one's correcting you, you're never going to get better. And I try to sort of say that, you know, to our clients too. Like, and you have to rate the client portfolio too. Some people are risk takers, some people are, you know, pretty moderate, and some people are just like, you know, low risk. Same thing for investments. It's the same thing with marketing and growing a business. And like, you know, you get someone like, I want to open 20 practices. Great, let's do it. But here's how we're going to do it. Like, let's take a step back. Um, and again, like I think connecting people is so important. And it's like you're building your network, I'm building our network, we're working together. And it's again, it's that strength in numbers. You know, when you have the right team working for you and you totally believe in someone that you're recommending because you know they're going to do right by your clients, like that's where good business comes from. And you know, that's how we feel about Northeast Private. Like anyone we have the conversation with, they're going to have a talk with you because the trust factor is there from us, and they know that we would not recommend someone or make a connection unless we really had their best interest there. And that's, I think, what separates us as a marketing company. It's
You,
more
you
than
know,
just leads.
one of isn't that the truth? It's so much the creating more value than anybody else. You know, in my world, there's only two things when I talk about expenses and investments. If you're an expense, you're almost always on the chopping block. And if you're an investment, as long as I can get a 4 or 5 to 1 return on my money or more, I have almost an unlimited appetite for investment. You sort of promote that your service provides a 10x return, which is better than my threshold of 4 to 5. Uh, how consistently do you get that 10x return?
Well, just think about it. If you're, you know, our minimum spend with us, let's just use like is like $3,000 a month, right? And you know, there's other things that go into an office, but like I would be a pretty bad marketer if like you were a dentist and I only brought you 1 crown per month that you're, you know, getting $1,200 for. So if I can bring you 10 to 12 clients and you charge $1,200 a crown, that's a pretty good return for your $3,000 investment, right? I mean, like this is why, you know, we have this consultative thing and we like to work with dentists that sort of have, you know, someone advising them on finance and stuff because like it's numbers, you know, it's a no-brainer. If I said to you, give me $3,000 and I'm gonna bring you like 10 all-on-4 cases every month that are $40,000 each, you'd be like, you take out your credit card right now and say swipe it. So that's the thing that, you know, our clients go into this from sort of like weird marketing and like some other companies where it's like there's just this package they get. And it's like, you know, the cost of labor in the US is so much. Like, what the heck can you do for $1,200 a month in New York City? I mean, I can't even get a content writer to write a piece of content probably with what you pay for less than like a couple $100. So it's like, you know, it takes time to rank someone because, you know, just like someone comes to you and they say, I want to be a millionaire. Okay, this is the process. With me too. I want to make this amount of money. Here's the process. This is how we're going to get there. Um, and I like that approach. Again, I like to go slow before I go whatever. Like I get clients who come to us with a million ideas. They're like, I want to spend all this money. I'm like, I don't want it. And some of the things they want to do, I'm like, listen, I just do not advise against it if you want to do it. And I think that's a little weird because marketing companies should always want to take your money. But I always said to myself, because I had a boss who said this too a long time ago, spend company money like it's your own. If you do that, and from my point of view, and I treat your money like it's mine, I wouldn't just frivolously like spend it. And I think that's the difference, is that my background in business and being in like the position where my clients were as like business owners, but running it from, as an owner's rep and as an executive, like I see that. It matters if your phones aren't ringing. It matters if you're not getting the return on money. If you're in the red, another like these are things that are really important. And I think other marketing guys like just haven't been in that position for so long. They just don't understand the metrics and stuff like that. Or really what it comes down with the operation stuff to running a business.
Yeah, change the subject a little personal. For anybody watching this, they can see, your shoulders, cover the entire screen. That you're a bodybuilder. Tell us
Yes.
about your passion. How did you get involved in bodybuilding, and how did that become a passion?
I think it's good because, it being in self storage, like people always pay when they see me. So they're a little scared.
So if your firm also does not only
Listen,
market, it does collections.
I
Oh,
always
that's
say
a
my
good.
muscles are for show. Don't ever ask me to help you with the move. Like I'll give you some money to hire a mover. I'm not moving. It's just I'm a floor model. Um, I'm like a disciplined person. Like, I get up at the same time, I go to bed at the same time, I do the same thing, I work out the same, like my kids are on a routine. It's like, um, that's what kind of bodybuilding is. It's like you're on a routine. So like that's kind of how I
What time do
operate.
you go to bed? What time do you get up? What is
I'm
your
up at
routine?
5:30 every morning and I go to bed around like 12:30 to 1 o'clock.
Oh
So
wow.
pretty consistently. I don't need a lot of sleep, but you know what? I'm one of these people, and I've been like this since I was born. I feel like I'm missing out on life. I'll sleep when I'm dead. So we're like, our whole company is very responsive, which I think is good. Just like you guys, like, you're running a business. I'm running my life. Like it matters. You shouldn't have to wait 48 hours to get in touch with me because something's wrong with what's going on with your marketing, or, our account managers answering back. And my personal life is the same thing. I think about how I want to be treated with people I use. Like, I have an emergency, like something breaks in my house. I want my plumber to respond. I don't want him to show up 5 hours later and I have like, a flood here or whatever it may be. And I always think about the best experiences I have. And what really led me, like when I leave good reviews for people, like what was that? And I try to take that away. Um, and it's sort of how I think life like works. Danny Myers has a great book, Setting the Table. And he says that, like it's the 51-49% principle, is that 51% of skills, like when you're really like in hospitality and personable, it can't be taught. Like I always say, I can't teach like sales or caring or this stuff, but I can teach operations. I can teach you like, how do you create a content plan? How do you do this? How do you like in self-storage? Like it's operation stuff, but I can't make you care or want to help people or be truly like, like go out of your way to want that person to succeed. And I always like to hire people and have people like that on my team. I think that's the key to success, and why I think we're so synergistic as companies, because I see that with all people on your team too. They care. They know their clients. They care the same way we do, and it really matters. So,
Tell people, if you're open to share, tell something about a couple of weeks ago. Something very special happened to your family.
oh
Tell
yes.
people what
So,
that.
yes, we had our second son. He's 5 weeks old. So my husband and I have a surrogate. This is our second child, biological child. And Nico was born in Florida, so I was there for a little bit of time. But it's great. So that's why we kind of got into fertility, because I understand the experience and like what people go through, and that was more like I want to help people that are sort of in the same like space, which is like kind of like how I got into dental too. My best friend, it was an oral surgeon, and she's like, "Can you help me with some marketing?" And I was like, "Well, I've only done self storage and commercial moving and residential moving, but the demographics don't seem that hard, and we have like a couple spine groups and stuff. So let's try it. Um, and the rest is history. 2 years ago, so which I like. I think it's always good to take on a new challenge, and we're here to really make a difference in the dental market. I think it's fantastic. I think the opportunity from DSOs to single practitioners and just bringing in different approaches that work for like REITs and real estate and legal. The results are just, I mean, unreal. I mean, you guys recommended us someone. They've been with us for 30 days. They had a prior marketing company. I mean, like in 6 months with their other marketing company spending $2,000, they got one lead. In 1 month with us, they got 38. And it doesn't usually work like that, and they're in Manhattan. Usually, the time, the ramp up period, what we always say, it takes a little time to rank, especially in big cities with SEO. But like I said, we implement stuff that has just not been done in dental before that works in other sectors, like the Google Map optimization on a whole other level for keywords, inserting insurance or things you don't take. And really pushing, the keywords in your area. Like we're not going to rank you for all of New York if you're in Midtown West. It's never going to happen. So applying that, we get good results, and our clients they're happy. So
Well, I want to tell you if people want to find you, and by the way, I think they should find you. I started the podcast by saying it's not what you know, it's who you know. And number one is you're somebody I want to know. But the other thing I also said is it's not who you know, it's who knows what you know. And I think everybody should know what you know. And if they want to find you, how do people get a hold of you, Guido?
So they can either find my LinkedIn profile, Guido Tebano, at Market My Market. They can email me at guido@marketmymarket.com. You can always send me a text or call my cell, which is it's all public and on the profile. I'm pretty easy to get. You always want to make yourself easy to get a hold of for the right people.
Tebano, Tebano.
Yes,
So
I think they'll remember
first of all,
Guido.
I appreciate. First of all, I appreciate everything you've done
Thank
for
you.
me and for people we care about, and I'm just excited to see what the rest of 2024
We are too. We are just
means for
getting
you.
started.
Thank you for taking time out of your day, and thank you for all the support you've given people I care about. And all I can tell you is, my recommendation is that anybody where I can give them $1 and they can get me 10x or better is somebody that I don't walk to, I run to, and that's been our experience. And as I said, I just think people at least ought to find out what you're doing. So thank you
Thank
so
you
much for
very much.
coming on our show, and we appreciate you.
Thank you again for having me. This was great.
Thanks, everybody. Good night. And that covers another episode of the Hero of the Hour podcast. Thank you for being our hero this week, Guido, and we'll be in touch.